This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Oh, drat, I was driving along minding my own business when that vulgar leech hit my Beamer with his pickup truck. I fear I've fractured my clavicle.
I say, old boy, don't simply put it in the hands of your insurance company to sort it out. Talk with the dedicated road solicitors at the Advocates Law Firm.
Pipe down, you old sod. The Advocates will see your case through to the bitter end and won't sleep a fortnight until they have victory in their grasp.
Jolly good, old man. Jolly good indeed. You get injured, the Advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
99.9 KISW. We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Who came to whose rescue? 206-421-ROCK.
Miles, I'm just going to read you this text that came in. No, just forget.
Hey, look, I'm going to be alive. I'm going to be dead.
No,
I'm going to live. You're going to die. I'm going to be live.
I'm with Miles with the laser pointer to deter the big cats, but I'm with Thrill when it comes to the squeaky toy with the wolves. Just say, people are pretty much split 50-50 on this.
What about just a regular old, just a big-ass bone?
That's probably the best of all of them. Wait, you're talking the size of a femur?
The biggest bone you can get at a pet store. You just got one of those in your backpack and a couple pistol sticks. I don't know what
like a rawhide?
Yes.
I looked at you're going to carry a rawhide into wolf territory.
Look, go to a Little League baseball game. Every one of those kids just chewing on their glove. That's all they do, the whole damn game.
Why'd bring a baseball glove?
That's all they do. They just chew on it. They don't even look. It's delicious. Can't resist it.
Hello, Kelly. Welcome to the men's room.
Hello.
Hola.
I have to say, first-time caller, long-time listener. Love the show. Been here for about over 10 years, and y'all made it worthwhile.
Well, I appreciate that, man. That's really cool. Thanks.
So it is about 10 years ago when I first came to the Seattle area. I was at Pacific Lutheran University and as a student there, and I got jobs at their for the first responder, essentially, like on certificate.
All right.
Glorified, first responder.
Your phone's really breaking up.
Kelly, do us a favor, man. I'm going to hang up on you. Not because I'm a douche, but that's not why I hang up on you. Give us a call back. Your connection's crap.
Yeah.
Right? That's right. Is there a job that's a second responder? Because I always say first responder.
It depends if the first responder.
So is there a second responder?
The first responder's not available.
Like the people that investigate the scene?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if they're first responders,
right?
Right, but they would be second to show up on an emergency
For
scene?
example, I'm looking out my window and I see my two neighbors fighting.
All right.
And they're really, really going at it,
Correct.
And then someone else comes and tries to stop them. And then he does. That's when I walk outside. And I say, is everything okay?
Now that this has been cleared up.
I'm the second responder. Thanks. Everything's cool? Okay.
Now, see,
That's Miles, though. I like the idea of you at your place watching this, and then you walk outside and go, he's right. Your wife is a whore.
Yeah.
And they just start fighting again.
Damn you, second responder.
But that's my point. Right. I'd rather be a second responder, right? Especially with animal attacks, right? So someone's getting attacked by a wolf, and it goes back to adopting someone else's kids because something bad happened. Well, surely someone will try to help this guy who's not me, right? And then if someone does manage to scare away the wolf or bear or whatever this really large animal is, then I can show up and be like, what do you need me to do? Then I can try to apply my tourniquet. See, I'd rather be that guy. I don't want to be the guy that stops the bear. Because even if I stop the bear from attacking you, my next thought is, well, what do I do now? Because now I have the bear's attention, right? And the bear's obviously already flustered. It seems like it's in a bad mood. I don't want to be that guy. And I learned this from my father. And this is some of the most sage advice he's ever given me. He said, man, always be willing to be the second person that does anything. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, look, they landed on the moon. Neil Armstrong insisted he's the first guy out. They didn't know what they were going to step on. It's cool to be the second guy, because if Neil steps on the moon and you find it's like quicksand or something, he goes, the other guy's still alive. He goes, the first guy to try to eat a crab probably did it unsuccessfully. When I think grabbed his face or he bit into the hard-ass shell. You just want to be the second guy so you can see what the first guy did wrong. I'm like, you know what? That's a good point. He's like, look, I'd be completely content being the second guy in history.
Nobody wants to have sex with a virgin.
To do blank.
Nobody wants to have sex with a virgin.
Right. Like,
it's terrible.
I was the second guy.
I mean, whether it's you, whether it's the other person. Right. Just let somebody else do that.
Yeah, you gotta go, I was next.
I mean, yeah.
And I need to be first.
Yeah.
That's all. It's like even the first guy to break the sound barrier. You know, my father pointed out, it doesn't mean he's the first guy to try it. It means he's the first guy that did it. Then after he did it, you go, what did he do? I'm going to do it that way.
That's why Putin has everyone eat his food first.
And then, exactly. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly
That's why he's still alive.
You don't want that job.
Because if he's got a lot of people who's had that job he's had to replace.
Think about that. Yeah. Think about that job, man. Like, you might think it's an honor. Like, even back in the day, like, I worked for Napoleon. I'm his food taster. Like, is that a gig you want, bro? You know what I mean? Like, is that the job that you want? Like, you need to eat someone's food first because so many people want this son of a bitch that. Like, no. Like, I appreciate the promotion. I'm politely going to decline.
Here's what I do. So let's just assume that there's two people at the table in this yacht, right?
All right.
Okay, so he knows I'm going to try to poison him probably. But then I put the poison food on the other side of the table, and not where his chair is.
Are you trying to Princess Diet bride?
But he knows. He thinks I'm trying to poison him. So he switches the plates, thus getting the poisonous food.
See, they tried that. What's the Princess Brides? That's the name of the movie.
Bam.
Yeah. Bam. Yeah, they did that there. And then it got so confusing because the guy's like, look, one of these is poison, so obviously you'd switch it, but that might, if you know that I know you're going to switch, it's basically, it got really confusing. Right. But here's the thing, if I sit down for a meal with one other person, and I am thoroughly convinced that they're going to try to poison me, first of all, I don't know why I agreed to this
why
dinner.
am I at this meal?
But I realized, looking back, I made a mistake on agreeing to this meal. But wouldn't you assume then, as a person who's trying to poison me, that I'm also going to try to poison you? And look, it's like it's the me and Ted theory. We get in a plane crash. 5 of us survive. Ted knows. When we run out of food, I've said it every time.
Yeah.
We're going to start eating people, and I'm starting with you.
I'm just saying.
It sounds terrible, but therefore Ted said, should the scenario go down, then there's a good chance that when I go to sleep, because he knows I'm going to kill him and eat him.
Yeah.
But now up the chances that Ted is going to kill and eat me.
I'm going to attack first.
That's what I'm saying.
How long?
I'll be so full of human.
Would you be Putin food tester?
No.
Okay. No.
Right. I don't think these were jobs people exactly were volunteering for.
No.
It's like, go down and get one of the serfs in here and send him up to the castle.
Eat this nugget.
The king needs to eat.
Yeah, there's no way you volunteered for that job, right?
No.
I mean, there's no way. There's no freaking way you said, well, yeah, to hang out in the king's court, I'm going to eat his food first, specifically because homeboy thinks people are trying to kill him. I'm not doing that.
No, I was like, I don't know. I'm trying to think, if they were like, hey, there's a job you can have with Drake where you need to drink a sip of a champagne before he has it, I'd be like, cool.
That's different.
That's way different. That's way different.
What?
Yeah. That's like being a senator's food tester at restaurants around. No, you don't want to do that.
No.
You don't know where people eat.
I'm not doing it.
You're gonna eat tons of loogies.
It's probably not poison, but there's a lot of DNA.
Oh, there's tons of it. Yes. Who came to whose rescue? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Sheila. Welcome to the men's room.
Hello.
Hola.
Can you hear me okay?
You kind of got a fuzzy thing going on, but you're all right. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm a wildlife rehabilitator and rescuer. So I've got like a million different stories.
Okay.
But, yeah, I guess probably one of my most crazy ones was I rescued a deer out of a 40-plus foot ravine.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I did it in 6-inch platform high heels.
Oh, yeah, that deer was like, yeah, mama.
Was the deer in water, or was it just down in the ravine?
It had been hit by a truck and then got run over by a car.
Jesus.
And then it like went under the guardrail and toppled down the ravine into the sticker bushes. And so I got the call about it and went over there. And by then the police were there, fortunately, because it was dark by then. And I had this 30-foot like lead, kind of like the ones the canine units use when they're on a scent trail.
But again, you're in high heels.
Yeah, why didn't they do anything? Why are they just standing there waiting for a high-heeled woman to show up to take the deer out of the bushes?
They have no idea what to do. They usually call me when there's something really crazy with an animal.
All right. Well, what is the technique, right? So you said this deer's been hit by a car, then it gets run over, falls down a ravine. I mean, I'm not trying to sound callous. Is it worth saving at that point?
Well, and I knew it wasn't going to make it, but I didn't want it to die there by itself. And it was not full grown yet. It was a little bit bigger than I am.
All right.
Not much, though.
Well, we don't know what you look like. I mean, you can be huge. Yeah,
I'm about 115 pounds, 5'4".
All right, so your heels didn't hate you.
Yeah, I was going to say you're wearing heels.
Sometimes I'm like, man, Hitler came back as heels for this woman because they do not deserve to have to hold. So when you say, then what do you do with the deer after you pull it out of the ravine? The thing's already messed up. I mean, do you hand it to the cops? Does someone drive it somewhere or what?
I put it in my car in a crate and then put it in my car and took it to where I work. And we gave it some pain medication and put it, got it comfortable on a soft bed. And
how was the venison dinner later?
Do you
have? Wait, hold on.
That was that stressed out.
Did you hold the animal in the blanket when you put the animal down?
Oh, it passed on its own.
Okay, I was going to say.
All right.
When they put the animal down, or even if it's like a raccoon or whatever, do they poop in your blanket like your pet does?
Yeah, if they don't poop, they at least let out the death fart.
Correct. Yes, I just was checking.
Yeah.
How many different animal farts?
Do you think that happens to people?
It does. How many different animal farts do you think you've experienced? Like types of animals in that moment?
Oh, good God. Well, birds don't fart, so...
Wait, birds don't fart? For real?
It's a children's book.
Yeah, for real. They don't have an anus.
Well, they got a cloaca.
They are not real.
Yeah, yes, they do.
So birds don't fart. I had no freaking idea.
What do you mean they don't have a sheriff's badge? Come again there.
So birds, they don't fart. That's why, if you feed them the...
Alka-Seltzer or whatever?
Alka-Seltzer, yeah. And it ruptures their innards because they can't expel the
same with
bubbles.
rice. Same with not throwing rice at a wedding or something?
Well, rice gets really sticky and swells up in the crop, in their throat.
Okay, all right.
I'll be goddamn. Birds don't have an anus. So what part of the body, all right, so they have a cloaca. So it's a cloaca just its entire separate thing? It's not considered basically just like a bird anus?
It's basically like the urethra and anus all in one. So when birds crap, the white stuff, that's their urea, their pee.
Yeah.
And the dark, chunky stuff's their poo.
I'll be goddamn.
I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
So they just have one chute, is what you're saying?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And that's the same, kind of like a reptile, that's the same place where you would do the dirty.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all one. So like the alligator.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. All right. Makes sense.
I think so.
So an alligator doesn't fart.
So my wallet is a cloaca.
Yeah, but the alligator doesn't fart? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, no, not really. They don't. Sometimes when it comes out, even with birds, though, it'll make a little noise, but...
Well, sure.
That's
it. You should have heard me this morning. Good Lord.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sound like a bandit. I had no idea. So the white stuff in bird poop is bird pee. And then that little bit of grain you find in there is the actual turd. Huh. I will be goddamn.
So is it better to say I got bird pee on me or bird pooped on me?
Well, it still sounds better saying poop.
I think you got a little combination of both every time.
Well, isn't it always if you're going to?
You know what? I've never pooped and not peed.
But this is like mixed together. This is like when your food stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Have you ever pooped and not peed? You've obviously peed and not pooed. I don't know that I've, in the course of your life, right? As long as you've been alive, have you ever sat down to poop and not also peed? Does poop always come with pee?
Yeah.
I feel like it does. Because even if you just peed, I feel like you still have the urge when you sit down to be like, oh, maybe I do have a little left.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about it now. Like, have I peed every single time? I'm going to start keeping track of it.
Who came to whose rescue? 206-421-ROCK.
I remember as a kid asking another kid, like, do you pee when you poop too? And they were like, yeah. I was like, this is crazy.
Good, I'm not alone. I don't know if it's too much.
That's when you really know you're done because you really, again, going number one.
What do you mean?
It's like it's that last thing. Like your body knows you're done going number two when you get that really at the end long pee for whatever reason.
Do you pee after you've pooped?
I pee before and then after when it's done.
I know I'm going to be focused tomorrow morning in the
bathroom. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just pay attention. I'm just curious because I think
that's the finishing.
I think
it's a donut.
I think
you start and then you end with it.
I believe I pee before I poop. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure.
Then you poop and then you pee again.
I'm not sure that I pee after, but now I got to pay attention.
I bet you do.
You think so?
I bet you do.
Put $1 on it. Because I'll give you an honest answer. Because I got one brewing.
I'm pretty sure that's the process.
All right. Yeah. Are you Googling this for us, Ted?
I'm just seeing, has anybody ever pooped without
pee? I mean, honestly, now that I'm thinking, it's stupid, but I'm just thinking, I don't think I've ever done, but
they say it is possible, but difficult to do one without doing the other.
Huh. So what do you think the difference is with, like, dogs, right? Because my dog will pee in 3 different spots, and then the last thing she does on any given walk, and it's in a different spot, is poop.
Well, isn't that it's the same thing with us, right?
Yeah, but with us, according to that anyway, it can be done, but it's difficult for a human to poop without also peeing. But I'm saying my dog can space it out. Like, I will pee here and do this, right, marking your territory, but then poop without peeing later.
Oh.
Or sometimes, if they're like nudging your hand, like I need to go out, should just poop, no pee. But as a human being, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah. Then I know, in the morning, I feel like I pee a few, 2 or 3 times before I actually sit down and get the business done.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Morning's much different. Just curious. You ready for this one, Miles?
Yeah.
Hello, Eastwood. Welcome to the men's room.
Glory to the Ukraine. God bless America.
Hola.
Hola.
Hola, bicholas.
How you doing, Eastwood?
Yeah, I was like 21 years old, and I was down at Alki, and down by where they got them apartments. They're out on those posts by the lighthouse, and we were buying some beer at the store, and I look over, and there's like 30 people out there looking out at the water. So I come up and go, what's going on? I mean, there's these 2 boys in a rowboat. It's 3/4 of the way sunk, and they're sitting up on the bow of that. And I yelled out, I go, are you guys all right? And they go, help me, help me. And I go, anybody got a boat? Anybody got something I get out there to them? So they got me this rubber raft with 2 oars on it, and I roll out there to them. As I'm getting to them, close to them, I pull out one of the oars, and I hold up in there, and I go, if you guys try to get in here, I'm hitting you with this oar. I see the rope in the front, you grab onto it, and then I'm going to take you back to shore. And they're kind of crying. They're the young boys, 10, 11 years old. They go, oh, yes, okay, okay. And so they grab on the rope, and I rowed them back to shore, and that was it. I saved them 2 boys' lives. I got about 2 foot whitecaps out there. It was kind of choppy.
Nice. Why do you think?
Kind of happened.
Why did no one else? You said like 30 people. They obviously, at least one of them had a boat. Why do you think no one made an effort to save these kids?
They said they were all right. They said, hey, they're okay. I saw the same thing happen in Green Lake up at Duck Island, and there was a kid. And this time I didn't help him. I yelled out. I didn't yell. I asked, anybody know him? And his friend goes, yeah, he's all right. And then here comes, like Charles Atlas, tearing off his shirt, leaps out there, grabs him around the neck, drags him up the dock, and pumps his chest.
You can wait out the goddamn Duck Island.
I know.
You can wait out. You can walk out to that damn thing. You didn't need to die.
Yeah, you can walk out to his kid was bouncing out. That's what I thought. I thought he was all right.
Okay.
I thought he was playing, but anyway, I saved them kids' lives, and that was my hero time.
Yeah. Not that I'd ever do that.
All right, man. Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah.
Especially when you see kids, nice. Man. You know what I mean? Just, I'm not the nicest guy, but if you see kids in distress, like, it just automatically.
If you see any kind of kid upset about anything, just crying by a kid by themselves who looks like they're having a hard time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Their natural instinct is, Here's some breaking news.
Breaking news.
The predominant theory among animal researchers is that dogs love to gather and chew sticks because they resemble bones. In the wild, wolves eat almost every single part of their prey, including the bones. Wolves will crack open bones to get to the nutrient-rich marrow,
well, sure,
which is a valuable source of their calcium. Dogs are attracted to gathering and chewing sticks because of this bone-chewing instinct from their wolf cousins. I'm going straight to the source.
I'm going Squeaky Toy.
With the bone.
Check out Squeaky Toy. It sounds like an animal in distress, and that's why they're like chewing it, because they're the big dog, quote unquote, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, I'm still going Squeaky Toy.
Okay.
By the way, somebody here says 99 times out of 100, I poop then pee, unless I'm drunk. Then it's pee before and after. If I'm not on the pot all day, sick, bad meal, I poop, no pee. That's weird. It's just not something I can do.
Who came to Who's Rescue? 206-421-ROCK.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Well, great balls of fire, Bubba. What happened, Bilford? That crazy son of a Sal blew right through that four-way stop on Main Street and plowed into my cowboy Cadillac.
Your what?
My pickup truck. And I'm pretty sure my leg is broken, Ted.
Oh, quit your bitching, Buford, and talk with those side busters at the Advocates Law Firm. When I got busted up last month, well, shoot, they made sure those snakes at the insurance company played fair.
Boy, howdy. Even that creepy so-and-so Kyle earned his keep.
So if you get injured, the advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
99.9 KISW. The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill.
There was a Reddit discussion of people who ended up in situations where they needed to save another person's life.
All right, I just hope to avoid that.
There was a bunch of them. For some reason, this is the one that just made me it's like, oh, God. And I think it's probably because we had no less than 3 of these stories last week in the news in the United States alone. But this guy says, I was in Hong Kong on business. So my colleague and I went to Repulse Bay. Repulse Bay.
Great name.
Met up with some girls we'd previously met, drank all day on the beach, hung out, made new friends. We're all hitting a volleyball when a guy, our age, early 20s, runs up to us. His voice is in a panic, saying his friend is buried and they could not get him out of the sand. I immediately thought this was some kind of prank. So we go over to the kid and literally all you see is an arm sticking out of the sand. So we try pulling it and all you can hear is a muffled scream. When we realized what's going on and tried to get closer, the sand caved in, and the arm began frantically waving in a panic. Immediately, I started digging in the sand with 4 other people, to find this kid's head. And then I found it, and we dug a small air pocket around his mouth. After 5 minutes of everyone carefully digging and pulling, we finally pulled him out.
Jesus.
The beach was empty aside from us, and it was getting pitch black out, so it was a good thing we were there. It is amazing how hard, heavy, difficult it must be in those situations to get people out of there. There was no less than 3 stories last week.
There were 1 week. Yep. There were 3 stories. There was a kid in, somewhere west of the Mississippi. I cannot remember the state. Utah. He dug a sand tunnel. It collapsed on top of him. There was a kid in New Jersey. He was on the beach. I think he just dug the sand hole, like fell into it, and the sand collapsed on top of him. And there was a 3rd one. I'm like, oh my God.
All in 1 week. Who came to whose rescue? 206-421-ROCK.
Real quick, Miles, we were discussing the best strategy of dealing with a wolf. If your best strategy is the worst strategy, and you had the pistol stick, I've
got a pretty good. I'm feeling strong.
All right. Well, somebody here says, look, I just tested your guys' theory of a bone and a squeaky toy with my big German Shepherd. The German Shepherd went for the bone every time.
No.
Okay.
Right.
So you can live with Miles.
All right.
Miles has.
I'm not saying that eventually the squeaky
toy of the game show.
But that's like fun afterwards. It's like a dessert.
After they eat me.
Yeah. It's like going to a movie after you eat dinner. It's the entertainment portion. You got to eat that dinner first, which is the bone.
That's fair. All right, man. We'll take his German Shepherd's word. That is our authority on wolves. Hello, Ryan. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hey, gentlemen. How's it going?
Hola.
So, my employer requires me to have a first aid CPR card, and I was renewing it last year online because of COVID, and I procrastinated through the weekend. Sunday night, I finish it up. Monday, I get up and I leave for work, and I'm getting to the corner of Mount Baker Highway and Everson Goshen Road, and there's a truck that was stopped kind of in the intersection, and as I pulled up to the stop sign, there was a motorcyclist off to the side of the road. And so there was nobody on site yet other than the guy that turned into the motorcyclist. So I had to pull over. I'd never thought that I was going to be using any of this. So I didn't take it seriously. But as I got out, I made sure the other people involved were all right. And this guy was messed up, but it ended up being a really close buddy of mine that I didn't even recognize. He bit his tongue almost entirely off. He had several broken ribs. His leg was broken in 3 spots, I think. His ankle was busted. The bone was sticking out of his ankle. He had a hip that was pulled out of the socket, basically.
How long before you realized it was someone you knew?
He actually recognized me.
Hey, man, what are you doing? Good to see you.
Yeah, he was like, "Is that Ryan?" It was, at that point, realized that it was me. But, I stuck around for a couple hours, ended up, I had all the information, so I was the one that was talking to the EMTs that were on site. He ended up getting shipped down to, he got airlifted to Harborview, ended up finding he had a lacerated spleen.
Jesus.
It was not something I really could have prepared for. But, like, one of the nastiest things that I saw him at, aside from the leg, when they cut his jacket off, the point of contact that he had with the road was his shoulder, and it ended up breaking his collarbone, dislocated his shoulder, but his flesh, it was like somebody grabbed a handful of it and basically peeled it over his shoulder. It was pretty nasty. He just last month he had a Rich is Still Alive party, and one of the breweries up in Bellingham named a beer after him. So
hopefully it's called Rich is Still Alive.
Yeah. He's doing all right now. So still got some walking issues, but that was nasty.
Well, that's awesome. Hopefully they're kicking back a little of the proceeds there to pay for some of his medical bills, which I'm sure are pretty substantial.
They're pretty substantial.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
It's never an easy train to ride.
Wow, man.
Nope.
That is
and the dude.
It sounds bad, right? Like I said, I don't want to be in a situation where I have to save your goddamn life, but if that's what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. So you run to somebody's rescue, knowing whatever limited crap you know, and then you realize it's someone you're friends with. Or just like, I don't know if I do a better job or worse job. You want to do a better job for obvious reasons. This personally resonates with you, but on the other hand, I feel like I would panic more. You know what I mean?
I think it's more of a calming thing. I think it kind of calms you down a little bit.
That's your buddy? You did not know it was your buddy.
Because you can talk to this person because you know them instead of like, hey, mister, what's your name? Or like, are you feeling light? You just kind of know them already.
Man, I feel like, put it this way. Right. I would rather have to do CPR on someone else's kid than mine. For obvious reasons. But I mean, just the idea that somebody pulls a kid out of the pool, you realize it's your kid or your cousin or your nephew. I would much rather have to deal with a stranger. I feel like I would be calmer and make better decisions about how to deal.
Tough one. It takes your mind off things. I'm telling you. Last time I was in that damn ambulance, I was feeling like crap. All of a sudden, I thought I was going to puke. So I'm like, I don't want to puke in the back of this ambulance. There's 2 or 3 people back there. This is not going to be cool. So I asked the guy, I said, hey, man, I think I'm going to throw up. And he's like, oh, man, I got a little bag for you here. So he gives me the bag, and I open it up, and I kind of lean over. He goes, hey, man, I just want you to know Red Festival is really good time. And as soon as he said that, I stopped thinking about the fact that I had to puke. I was like, oh, look, you were Red Festival? Oh, sweet, man. That was cool. Did I get a chance?
Did he ask for a picture?
No, we talked there. We had a beer, and that's what I'm saying. Like, my mind completely went.
But he's still a stranger.
I didn't feel like I didn't.
You did not know this guy.
But I felt like I didn't need to puke anymore because now I'm having a conversation with a guy, and it kind of took my mind off of things.
It might be better for the victim, because you know that this person has a vested interest in saving your life, right?
No, right? Yeah,
it's
just had a good time.
But I'm saying, if I'm the person saving the life, like I would be more rational with a stranger. I'm just going to do what I believe I've been taught to do to save this person. If it's someone you know, your panic is just so much different.
I just didn't want to puke in that guy's ambulance because
I will say this. My buddy Bernie, right? When I used to landscape with his company, his brother was a fireman. And there was this famous story about this other guy, and it's not even in their neighborhood or whatever, but the calls just come over the top, right?
Sure.
There's some code so you know it's your firehouse or not. But this call comes through, and it's his address.
Oh, man.
And he lost it.
Right.
He completely kind of threw him off, like, holy cow, that's my that's my family's house on fire.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's totally different where, like I said, with a stranger, you just make more rational decisions. You know what? It's like anything, man. There are school shootings that go on. You can hear about a plane crash, and all of us can understand the magnitude of what that means for the family. But if it's a school that your kid goes to, right?
Yeah.
It's entirely different how you approach it.
Who came to whose rescue? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Merritt. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Hola. Doing well.
Hola. Yeah. So, call it circa, I guess, 2004, 2005. Every year I pull my boat out of the water and I repaint it and get zincs on it, new zincs and whatnot. So
I put back in at Port Townsend. I pulled out and I painted it, and I got it all taken care of, put back in at Port Townsend. But for where I lived at Lagoon Point on Whidbey, I had to wait for a high tide to get home. So I had time to burn. So I went and I threw the anchor in a little place called Mystery Bay over by Port Townsend. And then around 8 o'clock, about this time of the year, I had to get going for the high tide. And I'm coming out of the harbor and heading right into the sun, so I couldn't really see that well. But I look over, and here's a big flash. Well, it's probably about a 15, 16-foot aluminum boat that's capsized, and I went by it too fast. I didn't see it in time. So my wake, there was a little boy on top of it, overturned, the overturned boat. I'm guessing 4 or 5 years old, and my wake swept him off. His dad was in the water, shirtless, and so I turned around and managed to back up close enough to him with my pipe pole that I managed to fish him out of the water, and they were both suffering from hypothermia. So luckily I had a shower on board with hot water, so I threw them both in the shower and went back out and fished their gas tanks and all their crap out of the water from the overturned boat, and managed to latch onto that and on one engine just idle it back to Mystery Bay, where his wife met me and grabbed the kid and her husband, and never heard from him again.
Thanks. Now you got to wait for another high tide.
Ta-da! Yeah. I called work and told them I wouldn't be in that next day, and just threw the anchor out and spent the night by myself.
Well, were the swells that big? Were the swells that big on the strait that it overturned their boat, I guess?
No, he told me that he hit a crab pot and it flipped. I'm guessing what happened was, it was that kind of boat where it didn't have a steering wheel; it had a tiller on the motor itself.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing he lost that tiller, and the torque of the motor flipped that boat right over. Because the torque of the prop.
How long did the entire process take, as far as you going back, getting them out of the water, going back, getting their gas, etc.?
A couple hours. I couldn't go very fast because I towed their boat back into Mystery Bay upside down.
Right. Yeah.
So I couldn't go fast. I just had to use one motor and just idle it back in there. But underway, he begged me not to call 911. The dad did, and his pupils were dilated and whatnot from hypothermia. And I didn't. I should have. If anybody's listening to this, don't mess around. Call 911 or call the Coast Guard. That's one mistake I made.
Brother, the last words that would have come out of my mouth would have been, don't call 911. Mm-hmm. Call 911. Get your goddamn phone to call 911, man.
And there's a fish on the end of that rod and reel if you find it.
Yeah, well, good on you, man.
Yeah, that's
good
awesome. That's very cool.
By the way, Miles, we got another text from the person who did the experiment with their German Shepherd.
Okay.
And they went for the pistol stick instead of the squeaky toy. Now, because I said, all right, fair enough, I'm a dead man. Well, they came back and said, look, it was not a very accurate experiment because the dog barely gets a bone, only every once in a while, but his toys are always there. Now, I got to think out in nature, they don't have squeaky toys. They got bones all day long. So I'm going back to my squeaky toy. I'm sorry.
Like this. They've had some deer bones.
Yeah.
They've had maybe a bison bone here or there. They've never had a bull penis.
You don't know that.
Dried out bull penis.
You don't know.
Game changer.
Some wolf somewhere was like, hey, man,
maybe this is the Wagyu of bones. I don't know.
Or was that a pistol stick?
Oh, now you're Arby's? You got the most exciting thing that you have.
I got the meats, and I'm not going to get the eats. Who came to whose rescue? 206-421-ROCK.
Guess who it is, Ted? James, welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
All right. Well, I got a question. So, you guys use a porta potty. You still pee when you poop in a porta potty?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever, and again, I've not kept track of this, but now I'm going to start because that's the kind of person I am, but I don't believe I've ever pooped without also peeing in the same
It's
section.
so handy you can just squat on that side little unit they have there.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, when I use them at work, you got to put some toilet paper down somewhere to rest your unit, but you can't just pee straight off into your undies.
Well, I'm glad you've thought this through.
I appreciate it because I'm going to start keeping track.
All right.
All right. Well, here's the story. It had been about 20 years ago. Me and some friends were at the river. We were drinking, And me and my buddy Mike, he looks like Brock Lesnar legit, man. He's just a little bit smaller, but
Jesus.
Yeah, and very, very, very athletic, in shape guy. But either way, we look over and see our buddy Nate has a bottle of 99 bananas, and we steal it, and we swim across the river to where the rope swing's at, and we want to drink it. And now all the rest of the guys come over. Well, either way, Mike, the big athletic kid, he's out in the water, treading water, throwing the rope back to everyone so we can just keep going and going. And he continues to do this until we're done. So on the way back, I'm the last one to go. And we're swimming back towards the shore, and he can't make it. You know, he yells out, "Hey, man, I'm not going to make it. You know, we're tired. The river's flowing pretty damn good." And I was like, God, I had to turn around and I'd go dive underwater and start jumping up and shoving this guy backwards towards the shore over and over. I had to take, I don't know, 10 times at least to help him out. And, you know, I ended up helping him. And he let me know when he got here. He was like, buddy, I wasn't going to make it. So I'm glad you came back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is terrifying.
Absolutely.
Especially when it's a big dude that can also drown you if they start to panic.
Right.
Yeah,
that is the key. That is the key to helping anybody in the water if you're one-on-one.
I have been in a river where, like,
this guy, he's a huge kid. I mean, man, and so in shape. I just
look, man.
Yeah.
Look, basically, the first thing you learn in life saving, as far as addressing someone, is how to fight them. So you know how to grab their arm, how to get behind them. It's the first thing you do if you're going to pull somebody out is get your ass behind their body and get your hand and your elbow underneath their neck. So you can hold them as tight as you can and get them on your hip.
Yeah, because you can tell someone not to panic, but when someone thinks they're going to die, they're going to panic.
They're going to push you under.
I've been in a river before where it was like kind of like the bend of a river, so there was a nice deep pool, but there was a good current. So to just to stay afloat, like you got to tread water very
right.
So my buddy, he is an excellent swimmer, and after a while, I just go, Hey, man, we gotta stop talking here. Like, I gotta put my feet on the. And he's like, "You okay?" I go, "I can make it to the shore right now, but if we
right now,
yeah." Then we get over there. He's like, "Yeah, sorry, man, I forgot I swam in college." Like, yeah,
I didn't.
Right, like I know there's people around, but we're at a depth where I can sink, and I'm tired.
Go back to the shore.
Right, it was like because I was just on that line of like, oh, I'm about to scream and panic. So I was just like, shut up, man, I got to get out of here.
Who came to whose rescue? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Todd. Welcome to the men's room.
How you doing? Hola.
Hola.
Long-time listener. Man, you guys are awesome. I've been listening to KSW since about 79.
I am. Thank you,
I hope that the station treats you guys well, like you should.
So far, so good.
Tired from here.
Yeah, they treat us all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We get like free pizza every once in a while.
I had a neighbor that he was an old Southern dude, and he had some issues. He couldn't really go out a whole lot. He had one of those tanks that would help him. I think not breathe or something like that. Do you know what kind of a disease that they would have if they had to have?
Probably if it goes up his nose, he's on oxygen.
Well, no, it wasn't something. It was different. Anyway, he was able to get out when I took him fishing. We went to one of my lakes. He knew me because he'd always talk to me about going fishing and stuff. And I took him out and just rented a little 12-foot boat. I took him to one of my favorite spots and stuff, and caught some bass and some panfish and that kind of thing. And we were still having fun because it was a great day. And we went over and we ran out of bait. So I thought instead of going all the way back to where we can buy it, we're just going to go to this island over here. And you stay in the boat, don't move, because, he's kind of fragile a bit. I went about 50 feet into the island and was trying to get some worms and stuff, and all of a sudden I heard a splash. So I go running back. It was about 50, 75 yards, and he's not in the boat.
Oh,
Stuff's all in the, tackle boxes and stuff are all in the water. And I ran in there, and I seen him, and I pulled him up, and he's like, "Oh God, thank you, man! You saved my life, I mean, the actual water was shallow enough you could have stood up. When he fell in, he just started sinking like a rock. You know, didn't even think about putting his arms out or anything. I'm like, dude, but I pulled him out anyway, and we had a big laugh going back into the shore and stuff.
Hopefully you didn't take him fishing anymore. That sounds like...
What all you had to do is...
all you got to do is fight, just move your arms.
Stand up, bro.
Right.
Stand up.
Your hands down.
Stand up. You'll be...
Dude. This is what you yell at people on, like, the shallow end.
It's like the guy who slips down in the bathtub and drowns.
Stand up.
Come on. All right, Ryan Kelsey coming in. We'll sit and spin. And today, Ryan brings us the 10 saddest songs of all times.
Yeah.
You are listening to The Men's Room.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
En Lowe's tenemos grandes inventarios disponibles en cientos de productos que los profesionales necesitan todos los días, como tejas, concreto, madera y más. Y ahora te los entregamos al día siguiente directamente en tu obra. Empieza hoy y ordena en línea o visita el mostrador para pros en tiendas. Disponible de lunes a sábado en artículos selectos en inventario solo en el área metropolitana de Charlotte, sujeto a disponibilidad. Para pedidos hechos antes de las 4 p.m. Más detalles en el mostrador para pros.